Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, specifically from the context of Candela Obscura, which is a major threat to Dungeons and Dragons. You cannot sleep on Matthew Mercer. He is definitely the most dangerous man in all of tabletop role-playing games. If he wants to topple you, he can topple you, right? Except unless you're first of all, unless you're Dungeons and Dragons, and then it's going to be a mighty effort. He's going to have to do a mighty effort. And honestly, I think that's the only thing that holds Matthew Mercer back is I do think his mighty effort right now. I'm not sure he does a mighty effort on anything, right? I think he's a hard worker, and I think he's incredibly sociable, but his focus is so split, right? Like, he's literally the best dungeon master in the world, but it's not really his focus. But on the other hand, now, Critical Role is so large that he has a massive, highly successful career as a voice actor, but you could legitimately say he's sleeping on that at this point because he's doing so much CR, right? So, like, he really I honestly think he should just give up the voice acting and go all in on tabletop role-playing games. That's easy for me to say, like, it's his life. But let me get right to my point here. I get in and I just want to say everything that excites me. So this video is specifically about Candela Obscura, is discussing Dungeons and Dragons' greatest threat right now, Candela Obscura, episode 1. It just dropped on YouTube. It's up, it's running. I have watched 2 hours and 20 minutes of the 3-hour and 40-minute show, and I want to discuss what I've seen. Let's go. All right. So first of all, let me give Matthew Mercer and let me give Laura Bailey, and let me give Robbie Damon, and let me give Ashley Johnson and their flowers. And there's one more person in the mix, but I'm not sure who that is. I'm not familiar with her, right? And so one of the things is, let's jump into this, right? She's new to me. That's the best way to say it, right? She really reminds me of that lady who was the doctor's companion. I think, no. One of the Doctor's major threats, right? Like, one of the Doctor's major, like, villains. Doctor's villain. That fourth lady. So let me give this show its flowers. Let me talk about where they did it right. They did a lot right. So first of all, I was extremely excited to watch this, right? The moment it dropped, I began listening to it, right? And by the way, I listened to it. I didn't watch it. Right? And I was extremely impressed with what is presented. One, Matthew Mercer, so first of all, I don't really watch a lot of Critical Role. It's hard for me to watch a lot of Critical Role. The pace is bone-achingly slow. And beyond that, because the pace is bone-achingly slow, I never know what's happening in Critical Role. And I've tried each season, like when they went from Mighty Nine to Bell's Hells, when they went from Vox Machina to Mighty Nine, I've given it a try and gone over there and said, oh, hey, can I endure this? And I just can't. Like, I'm very excited. I'm very thankful to Matthew Mercer for what he's done, but I just cannot understand how people watch, Vox Machina, Mighty Nine, or even listen to it. The pace is just so outrageously slow, right? So one, I think there's a lot of learning lessons on this thing. There's a lot of things that have been learned, lessons learned in Candela Obscura that they've learned, mistakes they've made with Critical Role, with Vox Machina, Mighty Nine, and Bell's Hells. One, it is really delightful to see the fewer players, right? And when I say players, I mean the players, like the people who have player characters. So Ashley Johnson, Robbie Damon, Laura Bailey, right? Players, right? A lower player count, which means you can get more from each of them. Yeah, fantastic, right? Also, I just have to put forward this. I'm interrupting myself here. I wanted to just keep giving them flowers, but I have to say this while I'm thinking about it, because it's really important. Robbie Damon really did a fantastic job in this episode. He is really fantastic. I'm incredibly impressed with how he's doing. However, he's not doing much of it, right? He's really at the edges, and he almost never speaks. And he has a great character, and he is portraying his character in a great way. He has a great player character. By the way, whenever I say non-player character, I'm going to say entity. Whenever I say character, I mean player character. We've got to kill these. Like, it's just a lot of words for not much, Entity, NPC, player character, PC, PC. I'm going to say player character. I'm simply going to say character. His character is, Robbie Damon's character is very engaging, very well crafted. He's doing a fantastic job playing it. But one of the things I really realized is he just keeps his mouth shut a lot, right? And doesn't say much, right? And he's not interrupting the dungeon master, and he's not interrupting other players, and he is so polite, but he gets left in the wayside, right? And I'm very aware of this. This is happening at my table. I have a player who's incredibly polite, super smart, super engaging, an extremely good player, but just too polite, and there's some attention going to people who are just more assertive and getting, and I just really want to call this out. As dungeon masters, really strive to put attention on your players who are polite and are patient and are waiting, right? We have to, literally, dungeon masters are in charge of fixing the world. I'm convinced of this, right? And what can we do first? How do we really focus and get this done? Well, one of the biggest things we can do is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Grace Randolph, my favorite movie reviewer, she says it all the time, and I think it's a reality of life, and we need to change it, and we definitely need to change it. We really desperately need to change it at the level. We really need to change this. It's really, really critical, right? So, very, very critical. So Robbie Damon, great player, very patient, and he's not getting the time he deserves because he's being too patient and not assertive enough. But the fix is not for him to be more assertive. It's for I think Matthew to be kind of drawing him out more, or just for either other players to be looking to draw out other players, right? But I was just thinking about that. I got lots more flowers. There is a ton I loved about this, right? So the other thing is, I have to say, holy cows, man. I am seeing Critical Role in a new light, right? Because honestly, Candela Obscura lets me look at Critical Role without the Dungeons and Dragons side eye, right? I care deeply about Dungeons and Dragons, and so so I'll get my fur up that Ashley Johnson doesn't know the rules well, right? In my humble opinion. But here in Candela Obscura, it's very easy for me to see what an incredible. She plays a character named Augie, who's like a 19-year-old newsie, right? And she just does such a phenomenal job with it. She is an extremely good player, just really playing the heck out of her character, and just really throwing herself into the role. She's extremely good. Robbie Damon, absolutely fantastic, as I already said. And then Laura Bailey, extremely good as well. Also, everybody at the table has done an absolutely phenomenal job of making their characters feel very unique and not duplicative of other characters. Extremely well done. Extremely well done. Just really, really, really fantastic. I'm loving it. And then what else did they do right? They did a lot right. And they all have, everybody at the table, and I'm sorry I don't know that fourth player's name, but also did quite well. I was very impressed with her play. There was no bad players at the table. I mean, really phenomenally good players all around. I am incredibly impressed with this. And this entire video is just me giving Matthew Mercer and his players all the flowers they deserve for this thing. It is tremendous. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on YouTube. It's on YouTube now. and YouTube is what matters, right? Twitch, Twitch is thinking about kicking Critical Role off their platform. They just did an announcement as like, if you use licensed content, you can all go kick rocks. And CharacterSheet.com is like, hey, is Twitch going to kick Critical Role off the site, right? Wow. But I'm happy that their content is on YouTube, and I wish it was on YouTube first. And I am extremely excited about Candela Obscura, and I'm really enjoying it. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get into the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.